I appreciate the bipartisan legislation that's being discussed today. I think it's great, and I think this committee needs to do a hell of a lot more of it. A lot more bipartisan work, and I don't care who's in charge. I think this committee needs to do more bipartisan work. Because we end up passing bills out that are unilateral bills, that are partisan bills, they never go anywhere, and it ends up just being a complete waste of time. But I'll tell you something that also is bipartisan, and that's the fact that what's happening right now with energy and electricity prices is affecting Republicans and Democrats across the United States. It's affecting independents, it's affecting rich, poor, whatever title, status, or label you want to apply to people. It's affecting everybody. This committee has jurisdiction over energy, and we're not doing anything. We're not having hearings, we're not doing bills, we're not going back and looking at all of the unforced errors that put us in this situation. What we're experiencing today was preventable, and not just preventable, it's things that people actually raised and said was gonna happen. I'll admit, it happened a hell of a lot faster than I thought it was because of the Ukraine debacle and Vladimir Putin's absurd aggression. But this is bipartisan, and this is this committee's jurisdiction. Yes, I support the legislation that's before us, and I love that we're doing bipartisan things, but there has not been a single hearing, not a single bill, no review, no oversight, no nothing. Think for just a minute. If Donald Trump were in the White House and if Democrats were in charge of this committee, they would be dragging every Interior, Department of Energy, EPA, and every other official they could think of, from the VA probably, up here kicking and screaming before this committee and doing exams on these folks up one side, down the other. What's happening right now, these are unforced errors. Saying no to everything is not an energy policy. President Obama used to talk about all of the above energy, all of the above energy. And that means solar and wind and hydrogen and geothermal and nuclear and wave and everything else, including conventional fuels like oil and gas. This administration's Energy Information Agency has said that there's going to be a 50% increase in global energy demand, 50%, which includes an increase in oil, and it includes an increase in natural gas. Are we gonna continue to go down this path of following in the footsteps of what the UK has done? Look at what's going on in Germany right now. Look at the wind debacle that they had in the UK previously. Why in the world would we not learn from the mistakes and learn from the successes of different states in the United States and other countries versus going down this exact path that has been proven to completely fail? And let me be clear, when I say fail on prices, fail on emissions in the environment, and fail on energy security. Why would we do that? We have blocked energy projects from moving forward in the United States only to become more dependent upon Russian energy. We're now turning to Iran, Venezuela, and Saudi Arabia to fill the void. We have blocked access to rare earth or critical minerals in the United States, even though Russia, China, and other nations we don't have allies, we don't have a secure supply chain with, have stepped in and monopolized these resources, preventing us from having a renewable energy industry in the United States. Shame on us, Mr. Chairman, for not stepping up and addressing this issue that is a bipartisan issue that is affecting all of our constituents, especially those that are most impoverished and those that are on fixed income. And so I urge that we use this committee's jurisdiction in a way that is appropriate and a way that
Thank you, Mr. Graves.
I think Don Young would have done. I yield back.
The gentleman's time has expired. Mr. Graves, you've taken us far afield of the subject we were here today to discuss, but you are right. We share, there is a bipartisan outrage about the war that has been brought to us by fossil fuel and financed by fossil fuel, but a point of clarification since Chairman Grijalva is here. Mr. Chairman, I believe you had invited some of the CEOs from major oil companies who actually have been doing a lot of business with Vladimir Putin over the years, developing his wealth and oil influence, but also sitting on thousands of unused oil leases while opposing the clean energy transition. What was the response when you invited them to come to this committee and testify in a hearing?
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr.
No,
Chairman.
I'm asking the gentleman a
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr.
question that's
Chairman.
directly responsive to your,
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Grijalva.
Mr. Chairman, on the
They
committee rules,
denied-
doesn't
they denied.
a parliamentary inquiry govern?
What is the gentleman's inquiry?
I'm just curious, you just spoke for 90 seconds. I'm just curious whose time that was.
It's a procedural clarification that we.
Speaking for 90 seconds is a procedural, okay, well,
Yeah.
may I clarify the inaccurate statements that you just made?
Mr. Graves, you're really going to object about taking liberties with time?
I just want to ask if I can respond to the inaccurate comments. This is a committee.
No,
This is
the
United
gentleman
States
cannot,
Congress,
and I
it's
appreciate
inappropriate
Chairman
for us
Grijalva's
to be telling
clarification.
people in the public
I
that there are
believe Ms.
thousands of wells that
Napolitano-
people are sitting on. It's
The
not
gentleman
accurate.
is out of
It's
order.
not
Ms.
accurate.
Napolitano had a question. Ms. Napolitano, did you have a question for this panel?